This video is used as a guide for our current 7th graders here at Stilwell to learn about the 8th grade course registration process and about the different courses that are available for them to sign up for. The registration process starts on January 31st when I, Mr. Johnson, one of the counselors here at Stilwell, will be visiting science classes. During that day, students will receive a green course selection packet and a gray curriculum guide. We will also walk through the same elements of this video here. This video of the presentation will be sent out to parents right after that those meetings on January 31st. Once you have worked with your student, watched the video, and also talked with them about what was presented at the meetings, please look through the different options that we will talk about here in a little bit and complete the course selection form and have them returned to the science teachers by Friday, February 7th. Students can hand them in any time before that, but students may not be able to enter electives if the form is not handed in. The course selection form looks like this on the front page. It's got all of our classes listed that are required, which are core classes: English, Math, Science, and Social Studies, as well as Physical Education. And then you will also notice some blanks which students can use to fill in for their electives. That'll be a primary focus of a lot of this talk here. There will also be an option on the back of the form to fill out whether the student would like to continue with PBL or start PBL as an 8th grader. Whether they were in it this year as a 7th grader on the S team or not, they can choose to do it again as an 8th grader. So you want to make sure that you fill this out no matter what, whether they were in PBL or not. If you are wondering what PBL is or want some more information, on page 7 and 8 in the gray curriculum guide, there is a frequently asked questions section that will tell you a little bit more about the PBL. Another option that we have in 8th grade is our advanced classes, and we are doing it this year where teachers will have made recommendations for students to either do the advanced track for those classes or do the regular class track based on different criteria that they have seen in the classes. And so you will notice that there will be X's on in these boxes here identifying what those recommendations are. You can choose to change those recommendations, but we strongly suggest that you talk with the teacher about why the recommendation was made and identify if it might be a good fit for your student or not. And you just identify this on the back of the sheet. Another thing that's helpful when thinking about advanced classes is our third page or in our course selection package, which is called the characteristics of effective learners. This should be filled out if any students are thinking about advanced classes. Even if they've been recommended, it's good to go through this checklist. Here are some different things that are listed on there, the top parts of the spreadsheet, but there's a number of different things to look at and to think about with your student to think about if they are going to look for success in this class. These are indicators that we have used in the past that have identified that whether a student will be successful or not, and are good tools just to kind of check to see where your student is at with these different qualities. We have 3 advanced classes that we will be using for our core, and that's physical science is the first one that we'll talk about. This is the one that will receive high school credit. By the end of the year, next year, if they choose to take our advanced physical science, they will receive 2 high school credits for this. This course is compacted, meaning that it will include both 8th and 9th grade content. And because of that, it's very rigorous. There's high levels of reading, writing, and math, and they encourage students to be very strong in those areas to be involved in this class. It does lead to in biology in 9th grade. If a student takes general science in 8th grade, they will not have that opportunity to take biology in 9th grade. But these are things to consider as a student is thinking about this, and a good thing to talk about with your student's current science teacher. The other 2 advanced classes are social studies and English. Again, we want students who are considering this to think about having their look at their reading and writing and see what level they are at based on what they're seeing in their classes. And also another place to look is their ISAF results. That'll show have a good indicator of where they're at with their reading and writing, which they took last year in 6th grade. These classes will include more extensive projects, and we strongly encourage students to have a strong interest in the subject matter, because it does go into more depth things, and if they're not interested in it, it makes for a class that can kind of cause a little struggle and kind of add a little stress. Unlike physical science, advanced physical science, this class does not receive high school credits. So these will not be credits that are going on to the high school. Our 8th grade curriculum of our required classes are, as we talked about, our science, social studies, English, and math. The reason why we haven't listed the advanced classes for math is because those classes are kind of on a track already. If a student's already in advanced math, they will be rolled into our advanced math for 8th grade. And if they're in our 7th grade math this year, they'll be in pre-algebra for their 8th grade year. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. But all students will take all these courses, whether it be advanced or non, will be something for you to decide. For math, just like in 7th grade, there are different levels. For 8th grade, we have a pre-algebra A. So if a student is in 7th grade math A right now, they will likely move on to pre-algebra A. And there's also a pre-algebra B section, which again, students in 7th grade math B will likely be moving on to pre-algebra B. Math teachers may make a different decision on that, and they will communicate that with you. Students who are currently in pre-algebra, our advanced math for 7th grade, will move on to algebra C. And students who are taking algebra C as 7th graders will move on to geometry C. Algebra C and geometry C will receive the high school credit since they are high school level classes. We also will still offer our support classes for students in need of those supports. We have these different options here: our English language learners, our GT seminar, which used to be ELP, learning lab, math resource, reading resource, and then special education courses. If your student is currently involved in one of these different areas, you will see that on their registration form already. So for example, if a student is currently in ELP, you will notice that GT seminar is listed in the alternating spot of PE. These classes meet every other day, so you'll see them alternating on the line there of a class either with PE or something else. Another example may be that they're in reading, and so that again, it's located across from physical education. If a student is involved in more than one support class, that other support class will be listed on line 6. And so you will notice that you'll notice both of those on your form already for the student to fill out. Now, in that blank space that's on line 6 there are opportunities for different classes that they can put in there. One is they can put in a music class or a chorus, band, or orchestra, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Or if they want to, they could put in a study hall, which would meet every other day there. Our 8th grade music that we have are just like 7th grade music. We have band, orchestra, and choir, and students can choose to take any of those, as many as those as they want, or none. There is not a requirement as an 8th grade to take music. How you would fill it out with your registration form is you'd put it on line 5 if there are no support classes there. And that would be, the alternating class of PE, which still leaves lines 6 and 7 open. If you would like to take more than one music, that second music would go down on line 6, and so that would be moved down to there, and then again you would have that option of another every other day class there. If a student wanted to take all 3, chorus, band, and orchestra, they could, and that would be filled out in this other box. Most students, though, if they're taking 2 and only are taking only those 2, they will put in study hall in there, as there isn't another option unless they're in a support class. Our 8th grade electives we have are all meet for a semester, except for our Spanish, which will meet for 1 year. I'll talk about that here in a second. But these are all options that they can take for a semester-long course, and these are a lot of them they have had experience with in 7th grade. Briefly, for our Spanish 1, this is another class that will get high school credit, and it is the high school level of the class Spanish 1. So they are getting the high school. It is an acceleration. If they complete that next year Spanish, they will move on to Spanish 2 as freshmen. It is a class that does require quite a bit of academic discipline, and there is work outside of class. But for those students who know they're going to take Spanish and know they're going to probably take 4 years of it, this is a good option to get a little bit of a head start. So if a student was filling this out, they would put that on line 6 because it meets every day all year long, and they would put it on both first and second semester. So that's why we have 2 spots here. This is first semester, this is second semester. So they would put that on both semesters. Now we'll move into some of our semester-long courses. Art is a different option. I'm going to go briefly over these. These are all listed in your gray curriculum packet. But art is an option. A lot of them, the students have experienced that in 7th grade, and a lot of different things that they can work on: drawing, painting, ceramics. Drama is a new one that they have for 8th grade, and it's a theater arts course. Really good class for preparing students for speech, getting up in front of people. A lot of fun activities that they do with that. Communications media is a class that focuses on our media and the influence that our newspapers, TV have. They're also involved in writing the school newspaper as well as the yearbook. And we have 2 technology classes. Our first one is Gateway to Technology, and this is largely our robotics class and our design class that works on the computer to design different things. Really neat class for those students who are really want to get into engineering, to kind of get a glimpse of what's all involved there. A lot of different projects that they work on there. The other technology class is our engineering class, and our engineering technology class. And this is a class that works with our woods, metals, plastics in the shop. They're working on different hand tools, power tools, and stuff like that, learning the ways of those things. Culinary, formerly known as foods, is our class that's involved with the cooking. They look at different cooking techniques, look at different nutrition health facts. They actually plan a trip to go to a restaurant to learn about how the restaurant works. A lot of hands-on life skills that are worked on in this class. Then textiles is our sewing class, and again, they're looking at how to choose fabrics, working with different fabrics, working with different designs, and fashion statements. Both of these classes are great precursors to what opportunities they have up at the high school. All right, so if you're filling out that form and you want to have electives in there, let's say that a student's involved in chorus and Spanish, they'd still have line 7 to include 2 of those semester-long courses. So they could put art in here and drama. The one thing you notice is that the student would not have a study hall, but they would have the opportunity still for 2 different electives. The other thing is a lot of students do want to have a study hall, and so if they didn't choose Spanish, they can have this one here. They could have foods and tech ed here. These are just examples, but then have that study hall there. That would give them a study hall every day, even with including the music. If there's a student who knows that they really want to have a class for one semester or another, and have a study hall the other one, make sure that you list that on the form. That way I know when I'm putting in the classes that I know for this student, they want drama first semester, but they want a study hall second semester. That just gives me information. But if you look here for this situation, this student could potentially have 4 different electives in there. So each of these electives go for one semester there. But make sure you identify there on a semester if they want a study hall for a certain semester. And then the last thing that's very important is for them to include an alternative elective. That way, if they don't get into one of the ones above, that they are able to have those options to get in there. That way, we know if we can put them into something if something else doesn't work out with their schedule, because that does happen every once in a while. The last thing is we just really need to make sure that you have viewed it. So make sure that you sign both the front and the back page and date it. That acknowledges that you have looked it over and that you are in approval of what your student has chose. And if you have any questions, please do reach out. My email is johnsonbr@wdmcs.org. But the main thing is just looking over the form with the student, looking over the curriculum guide, and getting that into their science teachers by February 7th. Friday's February 7th. So they have a full week to do that. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or call me at Stilwell. Thank you.